Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Social Enterprise Summit 2019, grand opening come keynote speeches. Let's get started! Take a look behind you because Run Our City is coming to you. Run Our City believes run can transform lives. They inspire and challenge teenagers to train for distance running and achieve their goals while improving health and develop a can-do attitude. They organize streetathons, totem runs, and other themed running events to nurture fun and compassionate running culture in Hong Kong. Since 2013, they have organized running events for over 120,000 participants and raised funds for over 30 charities. Established by Run Our City, the charity training program Youth.ROC has also trained over 12,000 teenagers. At Run Our City, we believe passion plus professionalism are indispensable to achieve our social goals. Our people and network love running and creating social impacts and fun, innovative embrace the work hard, play hard attitude. And with that, please join me in welcoming our officiating guest today. We've got Mrs. Rebecca Young, Chair of Organizing Committee of SES, Mr. Jack Chan, Undersecretary for Home Affairs HKSAR, Dr. Jane Chitley, Chairperson of SIE Fund Task Force, Ms. Ada Wong, JP, Deputy Chair of Organizing Committee SES, Mr. Anders Leung, Co-founder and CEO of Run Our City, and Mr. Alan Chung, Chair of Hong Kong Social Entrepreneurship Forum. And at the same time, please welcome, please a round of applause, give her our officiating guest, everybody. And also, please welcome your MC today. It's me, Vivek Mahbubani. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello. Hey, guys. How you doing? All good? Hey, everybody. How are you feeling today? Yes. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. First of all, Designing for Happiness is our theme for this year as we hope to achieve seamless cross-sector collaboration and initiatives in order to create a happier society. Now, earlier today, we actually asked you guys, how are you feeling today? I hope you entered that poll, gave us your results. How are you feeling today? Let's take a look today. So far, what everyone's feeling. So far, we've got some people feeling great, good, ooh, excited. I like that. People are excited about the day. That's good. Well, it's good to be happy, good, excited, and so happy, and of course, ready. And with that, guys, I think let's make this happen. We're all over here. We're on the stage. Happiness is the moment, but let's keep the moment in our memories with a photo. So everybody on the stage, first of all, officiating guests, look forward. We have a cameraman who's going to take a photo with all you guys with the big blue ball of happiness. Looking forward, everybody. Get that one official photo first. All right, now, we got the official photo. Let's add a little extra happiness. Maybe a little thumbs up for you guys as well. You guys are feeling good? Everyone on stage, a little thumbs up because we're all here. That's the biggest blue ball in Hong Kong, I'll tell you that. All right, real quick picture. And there we go. Now, at the same time, since we have you guys on stage, I'd like to also invite our organizing committee members to come to the stage and join us on the stage, please. Now, one big ball on the stage, but of course, we want more happiness for everybody, which is why our organizing committee members can join us on stage. And as you come up, you yourselves will be given different colorful balls as well to join us and enjoy the process. It's all around, it's all everywhere. Happiness is everywhere we go, all around the world. And that's what it's all about today. We're designing for happiness. All right, so as you can see, smiles are growing already. As we saw earlier on in the polls, people were ready, they were excited, they were so happy, and of course, they were feeling good. The colorful balls are trying to add up to the stage, which is why happiness comes in different shades. But making sure all our organizing committee members join us on stage. Our officiating guests, you can remain where you are because we will take one group photo first. Once everybody gets settled down with their balls. Ah, look at that. You got different color balls as well. All right, everyone. I know it's a little crazy, but that's where the fun part comes in. All right, we got some people with their balls in the air, some people in their hands. All right, so first of all, may I please have our organizing committee stand on the stage? Okay, now with this, everybody just get ready, stay calm, okay. I know it's a lot of fun. All right, now please look forward. Let's get that one crazy photo first. This has to be one of the wildest photos we've had in this hall. Having done that, guys, I think, you know what, happiness should not just be limited to the stage. We should share it with our audience. So on my count of 3, I want our officiating guests to get ready with the big blue ball. When I count to 3, I want only the big blue ball first to go into the audience, okay? So when I count to 3, only the ball first. So everybody, our officiating guests, get ready. So we got 3, 2, 1. Throw it to our guests over there. And all the other colorful balls. Whoa, careful. All right, let's throw it on out there. All my audience and everybody, let the ball bounce around. Don't feel shy. Happiness should be everywhere. Bounce around the room, having a great time. That's what it's all about. And at the same time, while we're at this exciting moment, let's also invite our opening panel speakers, sponsors, advisors, academic advisors, and community advisors on stage for one group photo. Let the ball bounce away like happiness bouncing between different friends. So again, can I please invite our opening panel speakers, sponsors, advisors, academic advisors, and community advisors on stage. Join us for that one photo while the wild, happy times keep going on in the audience. Don't let those balls stop. Keep bouncing those balls, guys. Come on. I bet you when you woke up this morning, you didn't think you'd be doing this today. And let me tell you that, I have not seen so many smiles in such a short time. So all my friends on stage, please get closer. Let's get that photo. Everyone in the audience is having a good time, but you're gonna have a better time throughout the whole day. Those balls are going, yep, keep going, guys. Don't let it stop. The excitement should not end that soon. So everybody on stage, please look forward. We're gonna get that one official photo. Now the cameraman's gonna have a really tough time, but you know what? That's why it's so much more fun. Everyone on stage, please. 前面嘅朋友如果影相嘅話，可以一陣影，我哋俾大會攝影師影咗先。So let's get our official photo happening first. Okay, oh, I love it. It's a colorful room, everybody, on this beautiful Thursday. You thought we only had blue skies? Turns out we have a crazy, colorful day ahead of us. Okay, let me make sure our cameraman will try to get a photo. All our friends on the stage. Okay. All right, our friends on stage, please look towards the front of the camera. And let's make sure the ball doesn't get in the shot. Uh-oh, gonna cover everyone's faces. All right, we're almost there. One more quick picture for everyone on stage as well. Thank you so much. Everybody please be seated except for Rebecca, who please do remain on stage. You are the most VIP person at this moment. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, yeah, that's how we start. That's how we design for happiness. You don't just sit around waiting for it. You take some action, and you know what? When happiness comes to you, you bounce around to different people and share it with everybody. All right, thank you. Everybody, please be seated. Now, Ms. Rebecca Young, you are on stage because it's time to deliver your opening welcome speech. And I'm excited to see what lies ahead of us for us today. And here you go. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Are you happy? Yes? Very happy? Very, very excited? Yeah, great. So I would like to extend the warmest welcome to all of you to the 12th Social Enterprise Summit. We're very happy, we're very excited. However, we all know that 2019 has been a turbulent year. It's exactly because of this that this year we must initiate more change to shape a better world for our future generations. There are a lot of unprecedented events happening in all parts of the world, especially in Hong Kong. We hope that through this summit, we could bring forward more innovative solutions through different business models, different systemic change, and also through different agents and institutions and individuals to change our society for the better. We believe that social innovation can bring people together because it is based on very strong and solid social values such as empathy, resilience, respect, etc. And we hope that through social innovation, we could engage people from different walks of life to reduce conflicts, embrace diversity, and embrace inclusion. Our theme this year, as you can see, is Designing for Happiness. It may seem a little bit remote to talk about happiness at this particular point of time. But exactly because of this, in difficult times, we have to bear in mind that happiness is not just a feeling. Because when we are facing bad times, a lot of emotions come up. There could be anger, hatred, fear. All these will trigger our innate self-defense mechanism and to avoid danger. But at the same time, positive emotions like optimism, willing to share, willing to respect, and also hope will get more people engaged and help us to cope with things when they get wrong. So happiness is more than just a feeling. It is a state of mental and physical well-being. Whether we are going through the best of times or the worst of times, happiness encourages us to embrace a new mindset and explore different ways to formulate effective strategies that can contribute towards the well-being of our communities. It also helps us to look further ahead, to see and understand things from different angles, and to open up our mind for possibilities. Since 2008, the Social Enterprise Summit has been promoting dialogues and collaboration between different sectors of society and also with governments. I appeal to all of you to look beyond the present and work together to explore different ways to rebuild our society. This year, we will look at the design of different types of social innovation, which is sustainable, scalable, and practical. And throughout the 4 different tracks that we are having over these 3 days, we will rethink capitalism and ways to design business and financial models. And third, we will also discuss new designs for social inclusion. And fourth, we will examine cross-sector collaboration through different means such as technology and talent development. The International Symposium brings together 80 speakers from 16 different countries and areas. These thought leaders and practitioners will discuss the future of social innovation and how we can co-create more positive impacts between Hong Kong, Asia, and other parts of the world. Even though some speakers are not able to join us today, their presence will still be felt through recorded video messages which will be played during the summit. And on the last day, we will organize workshops and events which are specially designed to bring positivity and wider perspectives for aspiring young social entrepreneurs. Delegates are more than welcome to join us to a series of roundtable discussions and dialogues, including the Asia Youth Entrepreneurship Exchange, where 10 young leaders will identify challenges and explore ways to collaborate for a better future. So let's look beyond Hong Kong, let's look beyond ourselves and stretch our eyes and our thoughts to a much wider community. What is more, I'm happy to share with you that the community programs that we have been holding have expanded to 7 districts in Hong Kong, including Kuai-Ting as the latest addition. Between July and November this year, we have organized specially designed activities such as the Social Entrepreneurship Labs, the Community Carnival, STEM Education Bazaar, and various school talks were being held at different districts. These activities have enabled community innovators and the average citizens to engage in dialogues and collaboration, exercising the role that communities can play in social change. On behalf of the organizing committee, I'd like to express our heartiest gratitude to the Home Affairs Bureau and also to the Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Fund of the Hong Kong government, our advisors, sponsors, organizers, partners, and supporting organizations. It is only with your encouragement and commitment that we could make this summit possible. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who are here today. I am very happy to see so many like-minded companions who care about the well-being of our society. So please give yourselves and the person next to you a big applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Young. And there you have it. As she said, look beyond Hong Kong, look beyond yourself, and let's look around the world for happiness. Now, let's get right into it. I know we're looking forward to building more happiness around us. So, our first keynote speaker, Mr. Bart Houlahan, the co-founder of B Lab Company, unfortunately cannot join us in our opening today, but with the power of technology, happiness does not stop anywhere, and he has pre-recorded a video for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy our keynote speech through video. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bart Houlahan. I am one of the co-founders of B Lab, the nonprofit behind the B Corporation movement. First, let me send my regrets for not being with you there in person. Hong Kong is one of my favorite cities in the world. I've been visiting there for several decades, and I am honestly heartbroken by what's happening on the ground there. Please, please, please know that I stand with you in spirit, and I genuinely hope to be back with you sometime very soon. What I'd love to do today is perhaps spend 15 minutes asking the question, what is the purpose of business? And whether we need to redesign the corporation as we move deeper into the 21st century, because truthfully, capitalism, the economic system of the last century, is facing an unprecedented crisis. We left a summer where the Amazon was on fire, the Bahamas were underwater, and we were warned that we were headed towards a climate crisis that perhaps could kill off more than 1 million species. Fast forward to the fall, Venice is facing a 50-year flood, and Australia has unprecedented wildfires. At the same time, inequality is accelerating across the globe. You know, we're in a situation where 70% of the world's population has less than 3% of assets. And in fact, 42 individuals now have more wealth than half the population. In an interconnected world, this disparity of wealth is leading, not surprisingly, to civil unrest, whether it be in Lebanon, or India, or London, or France, and of course our beloved Hong Kong. We at B Lab are working with over 100,000 companies, focusing on really what the purpose of business is and whether we need to question the role of business in society. Do we need something more from our business leaders at this unprecedented time? And in fact, do we need to redefine success in business so that our companies compete not just to be best in the world, but best for the world? We are working to build a movement of people using business as a force for good to fundamentally create a more inclusive and regenerative economy that creates a shared and durable prosperity for everyone. That is our vision here at B Lab. And in fact, our approach is really quite simple. We believe in the power of leaders. We look for best-in-class companies all over the globe whom we certify as B corporations. We then create tools for the millions of companies that are inspired by these leaders so that they can be more like a B corporation. And ultimately, we hope to drive billions of people to invest in, buy from, and work for these businesses. The end game, as I said, is a shared and durable prosperity. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the certification, the easiest way to think about it is B Corp certification is to business what fair trade is to coffee, or LEED certification is to a building. We are a corporate certification that looks at the whole. To be certified as a B Corp, you must do 3 things. You must first take and pass an impact assessment called the B Impact Assessment. It evaluates your impact on all of your stakeholders, workers, community, consumers, the environment, and your governance practices. If you pass that test, your second requirement is you must rewrite your corporate governing documents so that you're legally required to consider your stakeholders. The third and final requirement is you must be transparent with your impact report, not only demonstrating your areas of excellence, but areas for improvement. If you do those three things, you can join this community of leaders. We now have over 3,100 certified B corporations. They're from 150 different industries, 80 different countries, with one commonality. They all are using business as a force for good. The community is beautifully diverse by geography, by industry, and by size. We range from multi-billion-dollar companies down to sole proprietors. Some examples include Natura Cosmetics, who has lifted 2 million women out of poverty down in Brazil by selling beautiful, organic, and natural cosmetics. Across to Roshan, down in the left-hand corner, from Afghanistan, who has provided access to cellular service to millions of Afghanis. We have some of the leaders of the corporate social responsibility movement, like Ben & Jerry's or Patagonia. We have leading media companies like the Guardian Media Group out of London or Participant Media. We have banks like Tridos out of Amsterdam, and even new economy companies like Kickstarter or AltSchool. The commonality, again, is all of these companies are using their business to create change. We've been doing this for about 13 years. The community has grown beautifully, and as a result, we're getting growing interest from large multinationals, ranging from Coca-Cola, who is certified innocent, or Gap, who is certified Athleta, or Procter & Gamble, who is certified New Chapter. Two standouts, Unilever now for years has buying certified B corporations. They now have more than a half dozen in their portfolio. And Danone has declared that Danone Group will be certified as a B corporation by 2030. And they've methodically been certifying their subsidiaries now for a few years. I believe more than 40% of their gross revenues globally has been certified as a B corporation. As I mentioned, demand is greater than ever as businesses come our way trying to fundamentally reshape who they are and what they do as an organization. And most importantly, they stand together to create collective action. Three easy examples of our community stepping up include the We the Change movement. This is more than 500 women-led and women-owned businesses that have come together to advocate for women in business. In the lower right-hand corner, our community of certified B corporations in London came together during the Climate Week to stand with the climate strikers. They took over all of the tube stops and bus stops all over London with this ad. And then finally, most recently, with the severe unrest in Chile, the community of certified B corporations came together within 48 hours to make a declaration that they will not pay their CEOs more than 10 times the lowest paid individual at their firm. As a result, more than 1,200 companies came together to sign that pledge within a week. And as much as I am proud of the community and their collective action, truthfully, it's a means to an end. As I mentioned, they are our leaders of a broader movement. And the fundamental question for this collective group is, can we empower all businesses to be more like a B corporation? There are two tools that we use for scale, one of which is that legal framework I referred to during our conversation about the certification. In many jurisdictions across the globe, you can't just rewrite your corporate governing documents. It's in fact against current corporate law, and it requires legislation to create a new legally recognized corporate form, something called a benefit corporation. We have now passed that legislation 40 times. It has been passed in 37 states in the United States and 3 countries, Canada, Colombia, and Italy. It is moving forward in more than a dozen other countries, and we have now more than 10,000 benefit corporations across the globe. Other tool for scale is the impact assessment. It is a free public good that anybody can use to measure, manage, and improve their social and environmental performance. We now have over 100,000 companies that have accessed this tool as kind of a do-it-yourself consulting tool to improve their impact for all of their stakeholders. We work with over 100 partners who ask their constituents to use this tool, whether it be investors or supply chain decision makers or municipalities or business associations. Most recently, we have worked to reframe our impact assessment around the SDGs, and with the UN Global Compact, we will be launching in January the Sdg Action Manager. This is a tool that will allow tens of thousands of companies for free to measure, manage, and improve their performance towards the 17 SDGs. So the broader question that you might be asking is, that is all well and good, but why should I care about this movement? Well, the truth is the broader environment is coming our way. 80% of consumers now expect all businesses to be engaged in trying to improve societal issues. Those numbers increase when you talk about workers. 86% of workers now are looking for companies to have a purpose beyond just private wealth creation. That is being driven really by the younger generation. Millennials are expecting something more from their workplace. They're expecting both money and meaning out of their work. And in fact, that generation, which represents now more than 50% of the workforce, is about to inherit the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. $40 trillion are coming their way, and that money will be invested entirely differently than how their parents invested that capital. I can speak firsthand about why we are seeing organizations come this way. It has resulted in more resilient behavior out of our community of certified B corporations because they can attract and retain better talent, have stronger consumer loyalty, and have more access to capital. They end up being able to survive the volatility of markets as certified B corporations. This isn't just the right thing to do, it is a better way to do business. And truth be told, the broader business community is awakening to this broader effort. Perhaps you saw back in August of this year, the Business Roundtable announcing that they believe there is a new purpose for business. That business isn't just about maximizing returns for shareholders, that indeed it must consider all stakeholders and how it operates. Now, I am encouraged about this cultural shift. To have 181 of the world's largest corporations, including Apple and Amazon and JP Morgan, declare there is a different purpose for business, perhaps is a tipping point where more and more companies will be considering truly what the purpose of business is. But honestly, the time for announcements, declarations, and principles are behind us. We, immediately after the BRT announcement, with our community came together to take out a full-page ad in the New York Times, asking those organizations to put fundamentally their money where their mouth is and to take genuine action behind changing the purpose of their business, where they are legally accountable to all of their stakeholders, not just their shareholders. This effort in the New York Times was replicated by our partners all over the globe, and more than 1 billion people saw our encouragement to all businesses to get to work with us to create a shared and durable prosperity. Because at the core of this effort is redesigning business, moving us from a paradigm in the 20th century of shareholder capitalism to a 21st century paradigm of stakeholder capitalism. That there is a source code error in the corporation. That is shareholder primacy, that we have a corporate code that delivers value just to one constituency when in fact businesses impact many, many stakeholders. This idea of upending shareholder primacy is at the center of a global movement. And we're just one small player of that global movement. The community of certified B corporations are part of thousands of nonprofits that are working together to try to really create a movement to use business as a force for good. And at the core is the idea of systems change. Moving from an old system where corporate purpose was whatever was legal to a new system where we're focused on what is responsible and sustainable. Where the first principle of business used to be maximizing return, but moving to one where we're preserving natural and social systems. Where we care for more than just shareholders, but also workers, customers, communities, and the environment. Where we manage both profits and impact. And at the core, we move a culture from one that is always seeking more to one that recognizes what is enough. That is the broader movement that we're trying to drive. And we hope that you are with us, that together we can create a movement that reduces inequality, alleviates poverty, rebuilds communities, and regenerates the environment. And together, we will indeed build a more inclusive economy. Thank you so much for having me today. Again, I am sorry I'm not with you in person, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.
All right, thank you. I hope we also realize that turns out making the world better, making everyone happy is also a responsibility amongst us, right? So that's something you pick up as well as you go and meet different people. Now, having heard of all that, let's move on to the next session. This is what I've been looking forward to because this part will share the best trends and practices on how progressive businesses engage the hearts and minds of employees and customers, and how they turn these societal needs into growth engines and competitive advantages. Now, other than just being passive and sitting there and listening, this session, there will be a Q&A section at the end of it. And if you would like to pose a question, what you could do is actually, there's a website where you could actually scan the QR code on the screen and then enter your question. So as you're listening, if any ideas come in your head or you're unclear about something, feel free to go ahead and sub in those questions. At the end, there will be a discussion for that, and your question might pop up, and they might ask those and discuss about it. So remember, take this opportunity while we're setting up the stage, just scan the QR code, and you can enter in your ideas and questions throughout the discussion as well. And having said all that, the stage is set. It's time to learn and open our minds more. So please, may I now invite Ms. Louise Pulford, Executive Director for SIX UK, Ms. Rachel Chan, Founder and Chief Catalyst of Innofoco Hong Kong, Mr. Yat Siu, Co-Founder and Chairman at Animoca Brands Hong Kong and founder and CEO of Outblaze Hong Kong, and Ms. Ada Wong, Deputy Chair, Organizing Committee of Social Enterprise Summit, and the convener and director of Good Life Foundation Hong Kong. Can you please join me on stage? The sofa, everything is ready for you, and we have lovely glasses of water in our recyclable and reusable glasses. So first of all, we've got Ms. Ada Wong joining us on stage, and everyone else, please come on up. Don't feel shy, the stage is yours. Please give them a round of applause as they open up our minds for all of us.
Yes, hello everyone. I think, I'm really happy that we see the opening ceremony and the opening session right here at the Convention Center. And this will be a really unforgettable social enterprise summit, because last week we were actually solemnly contemplating different plans A, plan B, plan C. But now, we're here. And so let's enjoy it. Thank you to Bart, although he can't be here with us. He gave us really good inspirations. What I took away was like 2 points, big points. So number one, in the 21st century, we should really rethink and reset capitalism. So in the old days, we say businesses are here to make profit and to be accountable for their shareholders. And now businesses, including the big round table, they say, well, can businesses be responsible to the whole society, to the stakeholders, and not just the shareholders, so that, in the words of Dr. K.K. Chair, who is really a godfather of social enterprises in Hong Kong, he says, every enterprise should be a social enterprise, right, KK? So, and this is the big idea about how businesses can change and how we can design businesses to create a more positive, a more equitable, and a happier change for a better society. And that's what led us to do this very meaningful research. We, meaning the Hong Kong Social Entrepreneurship Forum, which is actually the organizing entity behind the Social Enterprise Summit each year. We discussed a lot about, what exactly could motivate businesses to change. So looking beyond profits, looking beyond just be accountable to the shareholders. How could we do that? And what does the more successful companies look like globally? So we did a global scan, and we also did a regional scan, and we did a local scan. We did 18 case studies so far, and we are only able to do this research with the support of the SIE Fund and the Efficiency Office. So I have to thank the SIE Fund for that. Now is the time to reflect on this very important issue on if we want businesses to be better and to be more responsive to social change and be a catalyst of change, what are the motivations? What could business leaders do? So we have an international group of people leading the research, including Louise Pulford from the Social Innovation Exchange, and she did the global part of the research. And then we have Rachel Chan here, who is the founder of Innofoco, and she did the local stakeholders interviews and also the local companies case studies. We also have EY in the research team who is helping us to do the regional cases and also to look at the ESG requirements and all other push and pull factors. And that would allow us to have better companies, not just in Hong Kong, but probably regionally. So without further ado, what this session will look like is that I'll ask Louise to talk about, her insights from the research. And then I'll ask Rachel to talk about the local cases that she's done and the insights that she has arrived at. I must emphasize that we have not completed the whole research, which will be announced hopefully by January or February next year. So watch out for that. And then later on, we'll be joined by Yat Siu, and Yat is actually having another talk at the far end of the convention center. So he's going to dash from the new wing of the convention center to here very soon. And then, obviously, I will leave enough time to include the audience. So let's co-create this session together. Right, I'll come back and sit. So Louise, over to you. Please talk to us about your global scan. Yes, you can stand up, but you have to look at your slides.
I do have to look at my slides,
Yeah,
so I'll
yeah.
stand here. And the clicker is broken, so who am I telling? Okay. You. Who do I tell? To move my slide?
Please show the first slide, please.
Person at the back.
Okay.
So the first 5 slides are going to take about 1 second per slide, so I'm going to be doing this a lot, okay? This is for everyone, actually.
Okay.
So who knows where the guy is? Can't see anything. Thanks, Ada. So I'm Louise from Six in the UK, and me and my team have been working on looking at some of the global cases. First slide. So what are we talking about? This was the first challenge we had in this research. We've just had a wonderful presentation on what B Corps look like. But we found several terms that are all being used interchangeably in different parts of the world. There is no pattern globally as to who's using what, and there isn't always consistency in organizations as to which term they're using either. So Some of these have obviously legal structures like the B Corps that we looked at. Others are more in terms of movements. But the important thing is to learn about is that, or the important thing to take away is that all of these terms are used interchangeably, which is why we went for business for good. Next one. So the question is, when did business stop being good? Of course, on the next one, it started in the Roman laws. Next slide. Really quick, these ones. I'm just going to keep going. Oh, not that quick. It started in Roman times. The Roman law, of course, was the first minting of coins, of collecting of taxes. Then the corporation was used to establish universities in Europe, the Catholic Church, next one. Of course, we all know it was around merchant trading was some of the biggest first corporations, the East India Company. It was, the corporation was used to establish the railways, the canals. Keep going. And then, of course, in the 19th century, as we've talked about, the private company and manufacturing industry, there's Ford picture. And of course, as well, in the 1800s, the cooperative movement was built. And this was around the time that people had a say in their companies. So still pretty good at this point. Go. And then this happened in the 60s, in 1962, that Milton Friedman book that led into being the Friedman Doctrine that said, actually, business is all about shareholders, not just people. The next one. And that doctrine became, the center of every single MBA syllabus. This is business became about shareholders in that very moment of that book. And so we're interested in returning to business for good. Next one. And some of these quotes and some of these things were just mentioned in our keynote presentation at the beginning, but I think it's really important to look at the words that people are saying here, because this is around how does business go back to achieving its full potential. And this was the first letter from Larry Fink in 2018 that caused a bit of a stir. And then, of course, the Business Roundtable that we just talked about, which is the moment when these 180 plus companies came together and said, this is about a fundamental commitment to all of our stakeholders, not just our shareholders. This year, the Imperative 21 as well, looking at changing the whole system. And so this was the context of which we started doing our global scan. So the first company I'm going to talk about, next slide, is Maple Leaf in Canada. Anyone heard of Maple Leaf? Not many Canadians in the room then. Those Canadians in the room will know that Maple Leaf started as the biggest meat packaging company in Canada and grew to be, or what they call themselves now is the vision to be the most sustainable protein company in Canada. Why did they do that? Because the environment's going downhill, more people are not eating meat, and if they continue to only be a meat packaging company, they will die. Next slide. Michael McCain, who is the founder of Maple Leaf, said this last year, and this is really high on their website, that they've set the bar high for themselves. They want to lead in food safety, quality, nutrition, and great food. They're really committed to the environment. Next slide. And you can tell that because if you go on their webpage, the first thing you see is this man, the founder, talking about how they're leading on climate action, not about what they're selling. And that is the reason that people go to them. So that's why we looked at Maple Leaf. Next slide. Case study 2 is Zulu. Zulu are they're the 7th largest conglomerate in Turkey. They are family owned. 30,000 employees, over $5 billion US turnover. So they're not small. Next slide. And this guy is one of the people in Zulu who has started to turn the company around. So the market in Turkey is obviously a difficult moment. It's extremely competitive, and they're a family-owned company. This is Emre. He is the grandson of the founder. He has become, or he is about to become, the new CEO of the company in the next couple of years. And he truly understands what Turkish society looks like and what it needs. So he says, for a healthy company, we need to have a healthy society. And so what they've done, next slide, is to not only have the vision of having a healthy company, but they've embedded it all the way through. So for example, they think their success is closely connected to the well-being of society. That's what he says a lot. If you meet him and talk to him, he is really, really quite committed to this. And the way they've done it is to build the success through the company, through a couple of mechanisms, the UN Global Compact being one, the Smart Life 2030, of which all of the directors are signed up to, and also the way that they have built partnerships with other people in the ecosystem in Turkey. So they really see themselves as NGO partners, as ecosystem builders, as part of a society. And that is going to make them more attractive, eventually, to the younger workforce. Next slide. This is our third case study. This is a company from the UK. It's called Landsec. They're the largest commercial property development and investor in the UK. They're well known. If you've been to London or you spend any time there, you will see their badge everywhere. And they're a very well respected and really liked company. And that's because they want to see themselves as being a good neighbor to the people that they live with, the people who are around them. So they have a very diverse portfolio. As you can see, 13 billion portfolio value, turnover. So again, not small. Next slide. But they're really committed to job creation as well. So they have an amazing scheme. Next slide. Next slide. They have an amazing scheme where they're building jobs for the next generation. They set themselves a commitment in 2011 to build more than, or to create more than 1,200 jobs for some of the most disadvantaged people in the society that they work in. They hit their target in that was by 2020, and they hit their target already in 2018. So they really are already delivering on their promise. Next one. And the final one, which may not be included in the research, but we wanted to share with you today, just for a bit of variety, is Mondragon Group in Spain. Anyone know Mondragon? Largest cooperative, of course, largest cooperative in the world. Again, not small. They have 250 plus enterprises, revenue, 12 billion euros plus, and over 80,000 workers. So they are by far the biggest company in the Basque Country. Next slide. In Spain. And the reason why we picked Mondragon just to show with you today is that they've really transformed an entire area, but they've also transformed the lives of all the people that they work with in Mondragon. Next slide. So, for example, because of the way they function as a cooperative, that means all of the workers own the company. They have things like, this is very unusual for most companies, and I'm sure most of them in Hong Kong in particular, where the salary ratio between the highest and the lowest paid worker is extremely small. So everybody is seen as much more equal who works there. They have done a lot of work to provide training opportunities for all of the people through the company. And values sit at the heart of everything that they do. They practice values, and every single person in that company can tell you that the values that they operate by. Next slide. And this, oh, next slide. Next one. So the question for us, looking at these case studies, and we have several more, but these were just the 4 we decided to share with you, is what's the motivation for why the companies that we're seeing to change? And Rachel will present with you more of the findings, but these are just a couple of the things that we're seeing. So next slide. The thing that these companies all have in common was foresight. They were all looking 30 years out, not 3 or 5 years. They really are looking at the next kind of future. They're also hyper aware of what's happening around them. Next slide. Seeing through cosmetic changes was a really, really important thing for all of them. All of the people that we spoke to in the interviews said how important it is to practice these values, not just have them as rhetoric, not just have them as signs on their businesses, but actually embed them through the organizations they're working with. And they know they have to do that because of the way the world works these days. Everything has to be much more transparent. There's a rise in citizen journalism and social media and all of these things that show people up if they're not acting on their values. So that seemed really important for them. Next slide. And I think developing a new social contract was really important as well. The lack of trust between our institutions and the citizens these days is a gap that is growing. And we've seen this lack of trust in lots of places. So organisations and companies like Landsec, for example, in the UK, are really seeing themselves as part of the community around them. Next one. Staying relevant, of course, was important, particularly for companies like Zulu and like Maple Leaf, because they recognise that they need to keep their employees excited at the moment, but also think about their future employees, and they're also thinking about future business as things change around them. Next one. And of course, attracting the future workforce is extremely important for all of these companies. I think that's it for me, but I would leave you with this quote, which is really important for us at SIX these days. It was the quote that Abraham Lincoln gave in his speech to Congress in 1862, and I think it's still extremely relevant as we do our research today. And I will read it because I think it's key. This is about the way that we have to act. So the dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate for the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. Our case is new, and we must think anew and act anew. That's what we're trying to do with this research. Over to Rachel.
Thank you so much, Louise. Yes, we must rise with the occasion. Rachel, you want to stand? Maybe Louise, you want to sit here so that Rachel can...
Hi, everybody. Can I just have a show of hands? I want to understand who you are sitting in the audience there. How many of you are from the business sector? Social enterprises, NGOs, governments, and related sectors. Yeah, kind of like one third, and then a little bit of government-related sectors. Bart talked about business as a force for good, and Louise have been showing you what business for good actually could mean in different parts of the world. I'd like to start by showing this slide. Actually, Louise mentioned this as well. It's actually very difficult to define what we mean by business for good. Here we're talking about a spectrum, different shades of business for good, and there could be overlaps as well. So we believe that actually it's not necessary to say what actually is better than the others. There could be different entry points to business for good as well. We start from the left side. We say, do no harm, be no evil. You don't do things that will impact negatively on the society, on the environment. And then there are companies also trying to do some good stuff on, in addition to what they're doing as their core business. A lot of companies have their volunteer team. They like to do some volunteer work, planting some trees, picking some rubbish from the beaches. So this is one kind. And then moving one step forward, we have increasingly more companies leveraging on their core competence, on the essential assets of the company to do good for the society. And one very good example is sending their colleagues at what they call knowledge volunteers, using the expertise to help less privileged groups in the society. In our study, we focus more on the extreme right hand of the spectrum. We call it do good and do well. So these are companies that integrate the doing good strategy as part of their very core business model and business strategy. And as a result, there are both tangible and intangible benefits to both maybe their bottom line and their top line. And in the last few months, we've been interviewing companies in Hong Kong who have been doing this green part of doing good and doing well. So I'll just use some time to share with you some of these companies that we've talked to. Next slide, please. Yeah. Invariably, all these companies that we've been talking to, they are using what Bart said, a stakeholder-centric approach to creating value. And why are they doing it? Louise have also mentioned some of the motivations for them to do good and do well. Essentially, they are adopting this strategy in response to a number of very, very difficult business challenges. How can we stand out in the marketplace? It's such a crowded marketplace where quality of product and service is already taken for granted. How could you compete in this kind of environment? Stagnant growth. How can we identify new growth opportunities? How can we increase productivity and reduce cost? Attracting and retaining talent. This is one area that we find could be increasingly important in Hong Kong and could also be kind of like the entry point to doing good and doing well, because it's quite an important and urgent need for a lot of business talents. Changing customer expectation. Bart and Louise mentioned about this as well. The Gen Z and the Gen Y, they have different expectations from the workplace. And last but not least, risk management. And I think in the last few months in Hong Kong, we've seen this, and a lot of business have experienced this. How can they manage risk? Things that they can't possibly control, but actually there are ways maybe that could be integrated into how they do business as well. Next slide as well. Now I'm going to share actually 9 cases. I'll be very brief on each case because we don't have a lot of time. I want to leave more time for our discussion and Q&A with all of you. I must say there are a lot of things that I can talk about for each of these cases, but I'd just like to highlight one particular point for each company. Hong Kong Broadband. How many of you are Hong Kong Broadband users, customers? For them, it's kind of a David and Goliath story. They started in almost 20 years ago, and now they are the largest, fastest growing, and most profitable telecom provider. And they run with just one single motto. How can they make Hong Kong a better place to live? And for every business they do, they use this as a guideline, from how they set their pricing, how they do their product innovation, how they engage their talents, how they create a healthy workplace and culture. And they also work a lot with social enterprises and NGOs, leveraging on their technology competence. Next one. Stand Group. I don't know whether there are Stand Group colleagues here. Raise your hands if you are here. They have a STILL initiative. Basically, they look for new business opportunities by supporting and investing in social innovations. They work with companies that can address social challenges. Again, leveraging on their own core competences. Originally, they are kind of like a property developer. So they are working in different areas of their business to see how there could be synergies with all these entrepreneurs and social innovators with their existing businesses. Next one. Squirrel Group is actually a Hong Kong hero story, one of the very few Hong Kong companies that actually has attained global status as the most sustainable garment manufacturing companies in the world. The current founder, the current chairman, has this thinking. How can we make a difference to the apparel industry? Low growth, very bad image in terms of employee welfare, working condition. And one thing they've been doing really well, they spend 2 to 3% of their annual turnover in training and developing their workforce. And by workforce, it's not just about the middle or senior management, including their factory operator, those middle-aged factory operators who may not have a lot of education. And as a result, they have a lot of patents. Some of these 2,000 patents are actually developed by some of their factory operators. Next one. This is an SME that most of you may not even heard of, a Jensen Technology. The founder is a woman, and she is very well aware of the problem as an SME. How can I attract talents? I can't pay a lot. I don't have fancy offices. What can I do? So the only thing she thinks she can help to develop an engaged workforce is to provide a really happy work environment. She used democracy as the guiding principle. How can they work, engage, and develop the talent, the workforce, under a really collaborative environment? There's no employer and employee kind of conventional relationship. She's not the boss. She's just one of the members of the workforce. And they work a lot in providing volunteer activities with social enterprise and NGOs because they want to use this as a core strategy to develop employee well-being. They don't do it just for a nice article in the newspaper. It's not about PR. Next one. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yes. Humanza is a new business unit of the New World Development Group. We have colleagues there from New World. Most of you will know New World as a property developer, but actually they do a lot more than property development. And Humanza is a new business unit, just fresh from last year, I think, because they see the new opportunities in a very, very severe kind of coming up silver tsunami in Hong Kong, the aging population. And they also see enormous opportunities in upgrading the quality and standard of elderly care services in Hong Kong. And what is more, there is also a lot of synergy with what New World Development is doing in their core business of property development and other related business as well. And you will be very pleased to hear about that. You know, for those of you who are in the elderly business, they have some exciting thing to announce, I think, very soon. They are doing an open platform architecture to enable us to have a more scientific and technological way to analyze data on the healthcare needs of our elderly population and how and who can provide the intervention. They want to do it together with all of us, all the players in Hong Kong. Next one. This is Clp Power Academy. Everyone know what Clp is, right? Again, 2 years ago, they set up this Clp Power Academy, not just for their own good, because they see the need, increasing demand for engineers, E&M professionals. And they also realize that the training offered by our academic institute may not be able to meet the needs of the industry. So they set up this academy. And what is even more meaningful is it also seeks to provide all the alternative academic and career pathway for young people as well as experienced industry practitioners to pursue a kind of path to attain and progress professionally, from a technician to maybe a senior or chief engineer of a department. And they do it not just for themselves, because they believe that CLP is part of the ecosystem. They are training also professionals for other companies in the industry. Next one. Next one, please. A familiar face here, Alan, our chairman. Alan actually runs, I think most of you know, a garment kind of business. But Grandian is also not just about garment and t-shirt and all this kind of thing. And Alan, he himself is a very, very socially conscious person. And at the same time, he is also a very smart business person. He sees a lot of opportunities. How can we work with startups and social enterprises to address so many unmet needs in the society. And the way he does it is he does not do everything on his own because he's so busy. How can he do everything on his own? So he support and invest in social enterprises. He worked together with them. This is one of the example, providing home design and management solutions to facilitate accessibility and mobility issue for elderly people. Next one. Just good time. Maybe I should leave it to Yat to mention this. I should skip this slide. This is what our place, has been doing with a social enterprise. I'll leave it to Yat to say more about that. Next one. D2 Place. How many of you have been to D2 Place? Yeah, it's a hub for creative entrepreneurs, redeveloped from an old industrial building. And the model has been so successful, it not only helps the young entrepreneur, but it actually revitalized not just the building, but the whole area of Lai Chi Kok. And now, Law's Group is trying to do more. They want to work more with other developers to offer more of this kind of opportunities to different young entrepreneurs and building a new creative ecology for Hong Kong together with all of you here. So these are all the cases that I'd like to share. Next one. There are some common threads linking all these cases. Leadership is very, very important. The top management's commitment and passion to drive changes. And invariably, we found all these leaders share a very common set of purpose and values. For them, doing business is not just about making money. Making money is just a byproduct of them doing something good to different stakeholders. Empathy. I think in the opening, we talk a lot about this word. How can we uncover unmet needs? You must have empathy. You need to understand what your stakeholder actually are looking for. Innovation. Actually creating shared value or business for good cannot be done without innovation. It's difficult. You're talking about two very different conflicting concepts, apparently making money and doing good, but you can only link them together through innovation. Government support is also very important. I'd like to leave this question maybe to the Q&A for the audience to talk about actually what all different stakeholders, not actually just government, can do together to encourage business for good. And working together with stakeholders is the last but most important. All of this business work very closely with their employees, with their suppliers, with the NGOs, and with educators and other parties in the whole ecosystem. This is how value could be created together. So my last slide is for those of you, next slide, please. Last slide, please. For those of you who are NGOs and social enterprises, I leave one question to you. If these, the sort of things I talk about, are the challenges of business today, if you would like to work with business, what can you offer strategically to them as a business partner and not as a charity recipient, so that you can have a sustainable and win-win relationship with them? Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And let us welcome Yat Siu on stage. So Yat has just made it. I'm so glad that you can be here with us. Let's give you a mic first. We'll start our discussions, and then after a while, I would like to ask you to join in. And please, if you are a bit shy and you don't want to say what you have in mind, there's Slido. And please just get the QR code. Can we go to the QR code page so that you can just type in your question, all right? Yeah, we've been talking about business for good, as you know, and Rachel has interviewed you. There are a lot of jargons nowadays. There's CSR, there's CSV, creating shared value. There are B Corps. You get a B certification. As a CEO, as an entrepreneur, you founded Outplace, and you also had, a big group of companies like Teen Future. You want to empower young people. You give them jobs. so that they feel confident about themselves. What do you think about when you start a company, when you manage a company? Is this sort of doing good, creating shared value, embedded in your own thinking and your strategy? Rachel, your slide that you chose was with all the gamers, right? You have to test the products. If we can go back to that slide, perhaps you can explain that slide and talk a little bit about your vision and how you actually think about all these ideas and values.
Yeah, can we go back to that slide with Teen Future? Actually, the Teen Future team is here. Where are you? The Teen Future team.
Teen Future team, GQ, are you here?
Where are you, GQ?
GQ.
Come over. Come
GQ,
on.
can you come and, come on stage. There's still one more seat for you. We've
Please.
got a young person. Let's do that.
Yes.
Yes, great. Yeah. Take a seat. Okay, yeah, you go first.
So maybe to answer your question, so whenever we build a new business and we have within our dimension, we do have an accelerator as well. And so we've accelerated, over 60 companies. We also invest in accelerators. We build our own companies. It's all really looking for purpose with impact. Right? So the purpose with impact, we think if you do the two things together, then generally speaking, you will also do good, because you're doing something purposeful, which means you're doing something that is important for you, for others, for society at large, and it's with impact, which means it has to affect many people. It can't just affect, maybe 10 or 15 or 20. Ideally, if it can be something that potentially can impact millions, then you've had the impact. So that's kind of the driver behind it. And so in our vision and in our hope, the whole concept of CSR or shared value might be so embedded, because we certainly find with the millennials, if they're working on things that are purposeful and have impact, the motivation is very high. And therefore you get better productive output, regardless of whether it's a very high paying job or not. Now for Teen Future, that was sort of a different story, because I was actually giving a lecture at PolyU, I think it was, right? So long ago. And the Teen Future at then startup team just basically ran up to me and was like, hey, we have an idea, but we don't have a customer, we have no money, what can we do? And so they basically pitched it very much sort of accelerator style. And I think this is part of where we as entrepreneurs and also as sort of business people drive the first area of support and empathy. If someone comes to you with an idea, instead of shooting it down, we support it. It may not be the best idea, certainly, but it's something that we can work on. But this idea we liked, and it was also targeted, because they knew we were making games. And they wanted to create a product around how, something that could be interesting for underprivileged or less educated children in poor neighborhoods that didn't have anything to do. How do we get them off the streets? And since there seemed to be a common thread about them wanting to play games, is there a kind of a job that they could be doing? And so we spoke, we brainstormed a bit and said, how about QA and testing? Because it doesn't require that much skill at the beginning, but can bring you in. We've been working with Teen Future, oh dear, I know. I think it's more than 4 years. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, whatever. I thought it was, anyway, it's been a while. First we started, outsourcing it. Then some of them became permanent staff. And it became kind of a little school for people to come in. And for our own QA department, it was also interesting because it was a way to get sort of fresh blood into the system. And I think, the potential impact that we were hoping for, which because it's based in Hong Kong might not be as big as it could have been in Hong Kong, but if it internationalized could be big, because we all know that video gaming is a large industry, right? There's 2.5 billion people who play. So if you're able to expand that, you have a very large market audience that you could serve for business like Teen Future with a good purpose. So that's sort of an example. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Yat. GQ 想講中文係嘛？好啊，你攞支咪先，咁咧就I can do some translation for you。即係GQ咧喺 Teen Future 而家仲做緊嘢嘅。係。咁當時係點樣開始嘅？同埋咁而家你個老闆坐喺度啦，係嘛？點樣係佢點樣係即係同你去傾咧，係一齊去做到呢間公司出嚟？ 你介紹下你自己先好。
其實咧，我叫子喬啦，咁我就喺 Team Future 嗰度工作。咁其實我就唔係老細嚟嘅，咁我係一個10 lead 咁嘅角色啦。咁其實我就係負責帶住一班年輕人一齊去做 QA 嘅啫，係啦。咁如果你講話一開始嗰
QA 即係打機啦，一路打到佢。即係啲 quality assurance 啦嚇，
係啊，咁唔單止係打機嘅，咁其實入面都有好多唔同類型嘅要測試。咁我哋其實有 front end 同埋 back end， 即係前端同埋末端咁樣。咁其實呢兩個都係一啲比較技巧性啲嘅嘢，咁樣係啦。咁我哋一開頭嘅時候，其實係講緊我哋個老細阿 Connor 咁去揾阿 Yesil 咁去負責，即係可能同佢推薦翻一啲人咁樣話不如我哋而家有啲 teenagers 咁想話可唔可以即係幫手做一啲工作咁樣，咁就係啦。咁Yesil 就話可以，咁就去咗佢 office 嗰度傾完之後，咁就開始緊 start up 咁樣係啦。你開始嘅時候你讀緊書？我開始嘅時候我讀緊書嘅係啦。咁嗰陣時就一邊讀書同埋一邊做 QA 啦，係。
咁做咗幾多年啊？
我自己就做咗5年左右啦，已經係。咁嗰陣時因為我中意開始做 QA，咁其實講緊 QA 其實最低個入學，即係最低個入職門檻，其實都係講緊要大學。但係嗰陣時其實我中意一個學生，其實好難有呢一個咁嘅機會。咁我自己都有珍惜呢個機會啦，咁樣去開始做呢一樣嘢。咁其實發現唔係想像當中咁難，其實好多我哋嘅 teenagers 都有。即係有可以做到呢一樣嘢。
So yeah, thank you, Zikyu. So what I understand, from Teen Future and Outblaze and the group of companies is that Outblaze maximizes its competitive value by understanding social issues. Teenagers want nice jobs and they have their skills. So if you focus on the right kind of talent development, it actually maximizes your competitive value, right?
Yes, it does maximize competitive value, but what it also does is it becomes also a talent funnel. Because when people come in and do a job, very few people, especially these days, end up with the same job that they started off with, right? Those days were maybe 100 years ago, right? So that means you start on the job and 1 or 2 years later you might switch into another job. And so one of the paths that could be when you start with QA is quality assurance first. Means you have to have an eye for product, we have to have an eye for quality. That is a quality that is universal. You have to look for mistakes, you have to look for bugs, and then you have to tell them how to fix it. When you take that skill and apply it to any other job in the future, actually it goes to leadership as well. You have to fix people, you have to fix environments, you have to fix cultures. And that can grow into that. So one of the more obvious straight paths would be you go from QA and then into game design, maybe even become a programmer. But in other cases, you might go into completely different industries because you were taught a real skill.
Right. So the Slido questions are coming in, and maybe I'll just read one of the questions first, and so that the panel members can answer. And for those of you who would like to speak up, let's have the microphones ready, because we will also like to have some questions from the floor. The question goes like this. I like this one. Is the path to becoming a business for good at scaling first being a for-profit company at scale and then shifting? So, you started as a for-profit company and then you scale and then you shift. Is that how you become a business for good?
So my view, no. Although there are many cases where that has happened. Although I don't know if it's for profit. It's more like we must make profit no matter what. And then, oh, you know what? Maybe that's not such a good thing, so maybe we should change, right? So it's more of a U-turn than a strategy. I actually think, though, that today, especially with recruitment, that you do need to have the mission and the purpose. And if your mission and the purpose is, hypothetically, destroy the earth for profit, right? Then no, you won't hire a lot of good people. That's just how it goes, right? So, and it's not just propaganda, it's what you do. When you actually live the values that you say that you're doing, then people will work it. It's very difficult if you're being hypocritical. And in today's information age, there can be no secrets. That's the other thing. So it's very difficult for you to say, I do one thing, and then I say another thing. You get immediately called out, and it's very demoralizing in the workplace. So perhaps this was possible decades ago, but I don't think it's possible anymore.
Yes, thank you, Yan. I suddenly remember this phrase in Chinese. I think it can summarize this idea well. 我哋喺中文我哋話發財立品，即係你發咗財先立品。But when we talk about creating shared value, when we're talking about business for good, 你其實發財同立品呢 so you create wealth and you do good together. 又發財又立品。So thank you, for that question. I have another question here. Corporates, especially B2B companies, want to innovate with social values, but they don't know how. So any tips for them to start imagining this? Rachel, Louise, Riyadh, you want to pick that up?
Please. Well, maybe I just say one thing quickly, which is about trust. So in the companies that we've interviewed globally for this project, but also for other things that we do, trust is such a huge issue. And if you don't trust, then people don't want to work with each other. And we know that's not just in different kind of sectors, but it's with anyone, right? So one of the things I think that the companies we've spoken to, and particularly Zulu in Canada and Zulu in Turkey and Maple Leaf in Canada, is that they've started a really open dialogue with the people that they're trying to work with. They go to the places, they don't just sit in their ivory towers and expect people to come to them. They have gone out and been with people. So empathy and trust and open dialogue is something that's been important for them. But they've all talked about as well how it takes time. Mm-hmm. You can't just flip the way that someone sees you, an entire culture really, really quickly. So you have to be able to invest the time and expect that people will be a little bit suspicious at first. Those are some of the examples that we have.
I totally agree. I think the other thing to the specific question about how can you bring it in, which is hard. So if it doesn't start from the top, then maybe one way to do it is to try to find the most empathetic, bleeding heart person in your office, and you probably will know who it is, and elevate that person into a role because they care. It's really difficult to ask someone to be sympathetic or empathetic to a plight or a cause they do not understand, right? It's nice that we understand that people are poor in Africa, but how many of us can relate to that? So we donate to sort of maybe absolve our guilt, but we don't really care. That's the problem. But if it's something that we understand deeply, we can invest ourselves more specifically to it. So it doesn't have to be a specific cause per se, but it has to be someone who has that deep sense of empathy. And the sad thing, of course, is that empathy isn't normally a job requirement. So you do have to find ways to discover them. They may hide it, but they are there. So if you can find them, then elevate them.
Rachel, perhaps you should be the one to pick this up. Okay, this is a little bit long, but I want to read it. Businesses that aim to do good, like traditional businesses, needs to survive in the fiercely competitive market. Staying alive as a traditional business is challenging enough. In the meantime, you have to address social good, and these usually comes with extra cost for businesses. So is there any framework, resources to help new businesses with good values to stay alive?
Very good question. This is the daily challenge of many businesses, whether you are big or small. I think at the end of the day, as in our interviews, what actually is your time horizon, Are you trying to build a sustainable business, or you just try to cut corners and make as much money as possible within the shortest period of time? I know it's tough, doing business is always tough. But at the end of the day, if you can align your purpose with your stakeholder, whether it's your customer, your employee, or your supplier, I think that's, what we've learned from our list of companies. And obviously, it requires a lot of innovation. We're not saying that it is easy. And nowadays, I think technology can also play a very important part. Actually, I want Yet to share your vision of the future. I think that's exciting.
Okay, so before I go there, maybe to help answer this question, in my view, and I agree with everything that Rachel just said, but I think the notion is more challenging in Hong Kong, I think more so than others, because we are taught to be very short-term in our thinking. And the idea of what is a return on investment and the depth of our investment is a question mark. So if you are investing in something for 2 or 3 years, it might be considered a bad investment because I'm losing money or I'm not making any money and I have to move on, because the return on investment is purely calculated in terms of profit. But the return on investment can have social aspects as well. It doesn't, and can have community aspects as well. I'm not saying that you have to lose money, but if you have a time horizon that has a longer vision, to your point, then you have the perseverance. And so I go back to this point about purpose and impact. If you are a founder of a business and you have a purpose and impact, then the struggle to achieve it is much easier, because there will be sleepless nights, it will be difficult, you will have a rocky road, your marriage might be on edge, your kids are screaming at you, whatever it is, it will be a struggle. And if your purpose is money, then you will give up, because you can make money easier elsewhere. But if your purpose is to whatever business you're building with an impact that matters to you, then any sacrifice is almost possible. And therefore, when we invest in startups, when we accelerate companies, that's what we look for.
Thank you so much, Yat. I'm told that we only have 1 minute left, but I really want to hear somebody from the floor. Anybody with a burning question? Anybody? No? Okay, if that's the case, I guess we can close this panel. And what I want to say is that whether it's CSR, CSR is really about philanthropy and giving back, and CSV is really a marketing strategy, and B Corp, as Bart Houlahan said, is a certification scheme. There are lots of these jargons out there, but as Yat said, the two keywords should be purpose and impact. If you want to start a company, if you're running a company, what's your purpose? And try to build in a social purpose, which might, increase and enhance your competitive edge. And on our research, we are continuing with the write-up of the cases. And so please let us know if you're interested to know more about the research, and we will disseminate the results early next year. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about this issue at the Social Enterprise Summit 2019. Thank you. And thank you to all the speakers, to Louise Pulford coming from London, to Yat, and to Rachel Chen, and to ZQ. Thank you all very much. Okay.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Insightful as always. Now, just to remind everybody, now you've been sitting for a long time, and maybe some of you want to move a little bit. Now, what we have is, first of all, we have some fresh fruits over there on my left side at the entrance where you came in. Some fresh fruits, always good to replenish those energies that you've lost. And also, water is available for everyone. We're trying to be eco-friendly, so we are working with the social enterprise we use, where they're providing you glasses that can be reusable, drink as much as you want, and don't hurt the environment at all. So again, we have some fruits in the front and some water for you to get if you want to get a little break, because right now we're going to start moving our bodies a little bit, because it's time to move on to our next segment, and I'd like to invite my special guest sharing and interactive activity. So may I please invite Mr. Anders Leung, the co-founder and CEO of Run Our City, to share with us and lead us into some exercises. All right, everybody, either get some food or snacks, otherwise join us. Let's move that body a bit. Anders, it's time for you to enjoy the stage. We're going to give you a mic, and we're going to play your video, so take it away and let me know if you need my help.
Wow, of course, please stay here.
All right, yes, I'm here. All right, okay, cool.
If you don't mind.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
So I think today's topic is about happiness, right? We have been sitting here for a long time. So it's a time to doing some exercise.
Yes.
So before that, I wanted, I really love to have someone still sitting here so we can start together. So, all right. We only have 10 minutes. Can I have the videos to have quick sharing what it is about?
All right.
Yes, I am. Do you know what it is?
They're dancing.
It seems like a party, right?
Yeah.
Is it like a party?
People are moving.
It's moving like with some music. It's like in Brazil parade, right?
Yeah, on the street having fun.
Yes, but actually it is not. It is about a run. It is about a 10K run.
Is that a warm-up?
Oh no, it is the run already.
Oh, this is
it interesting?
Ah,
yeah, so
yes.
Actually, run can be very fun and very excited. And we are not talking about just speed.
Yes.
And who is the champion, who is the first, who is the second. So this is the time that we can enjoy. What is running about? Mm-hmm. So like me, Run Our City is about running. So running can bring happiness and health, of course, and wellness. That's why I want to teach you guys today how to run a 10K.
All right, 10K. Okay.
10K.
Are we running
just
10K?
in. Wow, now it's not on 10 minutes. Maybe we have 6 minutes or 7 minutes.
I'm watching the time. Don't worry.
Wow. Yes. Thank you. So I don't know how many you guys sitting here can run a 10K, but wow, we have some hands, but not so many. So if actually you can do it, then just follow me to do some exercise. But if not, it's good. You can learn it for a few minutes.
All right, so everybody over here, if you're not getting your snacks, join us. This is gonna be fun.
Yes,
10K,
I would think so.
right? Let's make. I can run 10M. I can do that.
But after that, you can do it. So, okay, let's start, not moving fast.
All right.
So before that, always when we learn a 10K or learn how to run, we have to do some stretching.
Yes.
So especially when we have the conference here, we better do some exercise stretching. So let's do a quick exercise stretching. So if someone together with me, can you help stand up?
All right,
Just on your same place is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just stand at your place. No need to moving around. So let's do it together. So let's move our head with the neck. Just casual, relax to your left hand side.
All right.
So if possible, have some music with me, please, if you have. So if not, then I just add it.
No problem. I'll give you.
Can you help me together?
You want
Wow, that's great. Yeah. So we move our head at the left side.
All right.
So 3, 2, 1. Then and the right side.
All right. Ooh.
3, 2, 1. So okay, for running, it's not only about the foot. We have about the feet. We have about the hand as well.
Yeah.
So move some hands.
All right.
Wake up.
So,
like
okay.
this.
All right. This
just put up your left hand because
All right.
I have a mic. So I just do the
So
left.
put up both your hands otherwise,
Yes,
right?
both of the hands, and then you turns up like this.
Ooh,
So
look at-
stretch a little bit for your left shoulder.
I'm so embarrassed.
All right, is this all right? Okay, then
That's
change
terrible.
to the right side.
Ah.
Then change to the right side.
All right. Okay, stretching. Ooh, I feel the stretch on my shoulder.
And then if you can do it, then move a little bit with
Ooh.
twist your wrists. Yes, just a little bit. All right. And then another side.
All right. So stretching, twisting as well this time.
Yes. So after stretching, expecting you to stretch after stretching already, can I have someone that you can find a pair? Just like you
Just
and
like
me.
us? Hey, all right,
Yes.
look at us.
This is the difficult part. I'm going to unleash your potential. How to run a 10K. This is very strange. This is very strange.
So partners, get
Partners.
a partner. All right.
Find one partners. Just in pair. That's right.
Ah.
Brenda with Timothy. That's great. All right. If someone you find your partner, please. Please join me. Please join me.
Yeah.
Yes. Find a partner. Two together. I can demonstrate how you, even though you don't use your foot, and then you can run a 10K.
Ooh.
Yeah. So after you pair up, I see someone is pair up. Someone puts their hands up already. Wow, that's great. We have some. Hope if you have someone more, then join us.
Right.
Okay, you have to select one is the protector, one is the runner.
Ooh.
And then we exchange another one. So no matter what, just try one. So suppose you are the protector for me, okay?
All right.
Then you guys please follow me.
Okay.
Then we face each other.
Uh-oh.
The feet don't move, so no need to move. And then I just drop. Please be more
Closer.
strong.
Oh, so I have to
Closer
catch
and
you.
more strong.
Oh, okay.
And then I do it like this.
Yes.
And then I
you-
just fall down. I just fall and move your body as quick as possible.
Oh.
Sorry, you are not strong
I'm not
enough to
protecting
protect
you.
me. One more time.
All right. So I gotta hold on. And I'm
Yes,
supposed to
you
get-
have to put it
get
strong.
it. Okay.
And then
got
to
it.
make up together.
All right.
So what do you feel?
I feel very stiff. Very like.
So for protector, what do you feel?
I feel very powerful right
You
now.
feel very powerful right
Yes,
now.
yes.
The pressure is from me, right?
Yes, correct.
Wow, it's like that. This is your own power. This is your own power. Even though without use your leg, you have very strong power because your own weight.
Yes.
For running a 10K, your own weight is your power.
Ah.
No need to really put a lot of effort because your own weight is your power.
So you're saying if I gain weight, I gain power. I'm gonna eat more buffet.
Maybe. So you may turn another side,
Okay.
another round. So this time I'm the protector.
Okay, I press against you.
You just press as
All
me
right, so I
and
press-
try to get your body as straight as possible. Wow, very strong.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
strong.
Man.
Very strong. Wow, with very high pressure.
Yes.
Wow, you feel this strong that actually your body would move forward, right?
Got it.
You can imagine if without the protector, then actually you move forward very fast.
Yes. Oh, I get it. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying
got
to
it?
move forward.
Exactly.
Oh.
So this is actually the learning. I got it. Can I show a slide? That's actually my first slide.
I get it. So
My
you're using
first
your
slide.
weight to lean forward and push yourself forward.
Exactly.
Get it. Ah.
So then we will do it together.
Okay.
Can we show the first slide?
All right.
Yeah.
I know. This is how it is. This is chaos.
Yes.
I love this
During
chaos.
the searching, I just demonstrate. If like you and
Yes.
I are, if
Yeah.
I just lean down,
Yeah.
and then your foot would be falling down
Ah, so
very
you're trying to like push
casually.
yourself.
Exactly.
Oh,
Then
ah.
just this one step, you follow your motions.
So
like-
this is this technique called the don't PK technique? Is that what we call this?
exactly. This
Ah.
is only the technique. Very naturally, you don't PK.
Yes, we go.
Then
Got
can
it.
give you run a 10K effortless.
Yeah. So we keep the K, don't keep the
Yeah.
P. Okay.
Don't think it's too much effort to you continue to run
Yes.
for 10K for so long, like 1 and 2 hours.
I didn't realize
but actually
that.
it's not. And actually
Okay.
this is not.
All right,
So,
so-
for the next one, for the next slide, please. So as the closing, what do you know what it is, guy? Who is this guy? This guy is actually the most famous distance runners in the world.
Wow.
And actually, he's the hero in Ethiopia. That actually, I just met him last week,
All
last
right.
Sunday.
Really? Okay.
You know who is him? He is Haley, and Haley is actually winning 2 Olympic games
Wow.
for 100,000 meters.
That's good.
Actually, it's 10K that we are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we get some? We only have a minute left. Can we like any more movement activities? That we
Yes,
can
all
get?
right. Then. So if you're really learning how to lean forward, can you just try to falling down and do some just
Okay.
casual running
So
for that one?
I'll try falling down. You try falling down. All right.
Yes.
We'll do the three. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
So you got it. So this guy, if you would like that, just practice this and then you can start your own 10K.
So the trick is, if you fall down, just tell people I was trying to run.
So if you can run a 10K, you have
Yeah.
less possibility to get PK as well.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, thank you very much, Anders. That was fantastic. Everybody, round of applause to Anders Leung, who taught us how not to slip and fall on our faces and instead learn to run a 10K
Yes, thank you so
in
much.
10 minutes. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
fantastic. All right, guys.
Guys, bye.
Oh, that was good. Thank you. Cool. Whew. I feel more energized now. I didn't realize how strong I was. Well, having done that, I see you guys are getting some snacks, some drinks, and all that. Right, guys, once you get your drinks, do come back because we still have our next session, our closing session, our thematic session, actually, that will follow on to us, and we're going to start right now. All right, so having said all that, we're going to set up the stage again. Guys, get your drinks, get your snacks. Again, this is also a great chance for you to meet different people from different sectors, different mindsets, and just talk with them, chit-chat, share ideas. We've been talking about all this stuff, designing happiness in different ways. So I tell you what, we're going to take around like 3 to 5 minute break. Let everyone get their snacks, get a little walk around. We'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll continue to our thematic session, which moves on real soon. All right, 5 minute break, guys. We'll see you real soon.